Hey guys, it's me, Kevin. I'm back. I'm back home. Now I'm on a reverse angle because the lighting is so bright. You can kind of see some white covering me if you can see closely. Probably not. But anyway, let's get into tipping the round 18 games for the AFL. To start off the round, we head to Etihad Stadium on a Friday night. St Kilda versus Richmond. Not going to spend a lot of time on this. Richmond in Melbourne, they're great. St Kilda, they're not a good side in general. I know St Kilda won last week, or Richmond lost last week, but as general, first versus 15th, you're going to obviously tip first. So for that reason, I'm tipping Richmond. Obviously, along with a lot of other reasons. They're great in Melbourne. Yeah, okay. I'm not even going to go. Saturday afternoon at the MCG, Collingwood versus North Melbourne. Well, North Melbourne, I don't think they're on a turbulent ride at the moment. Collingwood, okay, they lost last week, but that was to a good side like West Coast, who I think were trying extra hard. That's what I meant with West Coast a few videos ago. That's what I meant when I said that West Coast was slacking off when they lost to Essendon or Adelaide. They thought they were going to win the game early, but win the game before the game even started, if you know what I mean. But this week, last week against Collingwood, West Coast thought, well, this is going to be a challenge. We're gonna have to pull this off, and they did. So, but anyway, let's get back on topic. Collingwood, they're generally pretty good. So I think Collingwood should beat North Melbourne. Also on Saturday afternoon, Sydney versus Gold Coast. Well, Gold Coast, they've lost 11 straight. You can't really tip them, especially they're playing hopeless football. So Sydney, obviously, they're playing pretty good. I know they've had a few stupid moments, but they're playing pretty good. So, and it's at home, so you'd expect Sydney to win. Saturday twilight at Etihad Stadium, Essendon versus Fremantle. Fremantle, okay. They won last week, but let's admit, it was a pretty scrappy and error-riddled game. So I'm not even going to take too much into consideration on that. Essendon, they're playing pretty good footy at the moment. Trying to catch up, see if they can make finals. I don't think they will. They'll run out of time, but still, I'm going to tip Essendon this round. Also, it's at Etihad, so Essendon it is. Saturday night at GMHBA Stadium, Geelong versus Melbourne. I'm going to be tipping Geelong only because it's at GMHBA Stadium. They rarely lose there, apart from if they're playing Sydney. So Melbourne, they're playing pretty good. If it was at the MCG or Etihad, I don't know why they'd play that at Etihad. I would tip Melbourne, but GMHBA, you really want to tip Geelong there. In my opinion, GMHBA will be the difference with Geelong making finals to missing the finals. They have won 4 away games, 4 or 5, I'm not sure, but if they win eight games at GMHBA Stadium, then, you know, they're pretty much secured a spot in the finals. But they still need to be alert on this, because anything can happen. Saturday night as well, Brisbane versus Adelaide. I'm going to be tipping Adelaide. Actually, this is a hard one to tip, but purely because of ladder positions right now, I'm tipping Adelaide. But saying that, I can't really decide, because Brisbane, they've won their last 3, and Adelaide, they've defeated 2 pretty good. They've defeated 2 top 8 sides in the last 3 weeks, West Coast and Geelong. So I will be tipping Adelaide. It was a hard one to tip, so I can't give too much explanation on that, but Adelaide is. Sunday at, I think it is Etihad Stadium. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. But Hawthorn versus Carlton. It's either MCG or Etihad. I'm not sure. You've got to check that yourself. I'm not going to bother checking myself. I'm going to be tipping Hawthorn. You can't even tip Carlton. I mean, they've only won 1 game out of how many? 16. So you're going to tip Hawthorn. I mean, and Hawthorn, if they're going to make finals, which I don't think they will, but if they're going to make finals, they have to win that game, surely. Actually, they could make finals because they've got a pretty easy draw, but really, they've got to win that game. And I think they will, because Carlton aren't even playing well. Sunday afternoon at Optus Stadium, West Coast versus Western Bulldogs. I find it pretty weird that it's not the last game of the round, considering it's in WA. But West Coast versus Western Bulldogs, West Coast obviously will win that. I mean, the way they played against Collingwood, West Coast should win. Bulldogs, you're not seeing too much from them. They just got smashed to Hawthorn, who aren't even playing great. They just got smashed to Melbourne, so you'd suspect that West Coast will win. Unless if West Coast have that same mindset they had against Essendon and Adelaide and thought they'll win the game against a crap team before the game started. Because the way crap teams defeat good sides is when a good side thing slacks off. But really and truly, I think West Coast have learnt their lesson. They're not going to slack off like they did a few weeks ago. I mean, they want to get a top spot, for God's sake. So you wouldn't think West Coast would slack off like they did against Essendon and Adelaide. So West Coast it is. And last, to end the round off, Port Adelaide versus GWS. I'm going to be... Now, you're going to call me an idiot for this, but I'm tipping GWS. Port Adelaide have got Robbie Gray out, so, I mean, it was a hard one to tip, because Port Adelaide is at their home ground, but GWS, like, Toby Green's back in, he played pretty well last week against Richmond. I mean, I watched the entire of that game on the plane. I'm not going to explain how I watched it, but I watched that whole game on the plane. GWS were playing some pretty damn good football last week against Richmond, so I'm going to be tipping GWS. Probably if I hadn't watched the game, I may have tipped Port Adelaide, but really, the thing is also, they lost to Fremantle, Port Adelaide, so I don't know how I can tip them if they lost to a team like Freo, but GWS, I mean, the way I saw them when I was watching that game, they played pretty damn well, so I'm going to be tipping the Giants. In an upset. So, to recap my tips, I am tipping Richmond, Collingwood, Sydney, Essendon, Adelaide, Geelong, Hawthorn, West Coast, and GWS. Hope to help you with your tipping. I'll see you next week. Bye.